The MVP, the Scottish sensation, Ryan Gauld.
He's been the Whitecaps' best player overall this season.
Ryan Gauld has the goal.
He's having a brilliant season.
Playing Ryan Gauld has scored. The captain strikes for the Whitecaps.
Ryan Gauld is absolute money.
Here's Gauld once again.
Vancouver's lethal connection. Gauld to White.
Talisman and major talent, Scottish international Ryan Gauld.
Ryan Gauld is an MVP candidate. The MVP voting has started, and he has made a case this season, not just his numbers, but what he's done throughout Vancouver's lineup. I could lay out his resume, but what's your case for him being MVP?
Well, there's so many performances that we've spoken about in this season, even when he's not even scored in games, because Julian and I have marvelled at his work rate off the ball, and I know that there's so much that's said in relation to this by his teammates will continuously talk about. He sets the tone for the side when they don't have the ball. But you mentioned names that surround him as well. I'd even look at Veselinovic, who's played really well defensively for them as well. I think he makes the defensive job easier as well with how he goes and presses the ball. Yes, his quality is undoubted when he's on the ball. His quality in terms of how he can deliver a cross, how he can deliver a through ball. His finishing is undoubted as well. But Julian, it's what, as Matthew's touched on there, what he brings to the team. Yeah. You can clearly see that he enjoys playing for Vancouver. You can clearly see that he enjoys the teammates around him and his relationships that he's got there with teammates. But I think he inspires that team. I think he's been a real leader for that side since he's gone in there. Not just with his numbers that we've marvelled at this season, particularly in the last 3 or 4 months, because he's been as good as anybody in the league. But it's his desire to go and win the ball. On these raw games that they've had of late as well, is continuation to run and run and run for the side, and that is something. I think it's something that makes him stand out above any of the other candidates for the MVP this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's a standout for me as a number 10, a modern day number 10, and that's what every coach wants for a number 10. Is not just what you could do on the ball and be creative in the final third. It's what you could do off the ball, and Ryan Gauld does that perfectly. I mean, what he does, there's no excuse why players around him should not be running as much as him, if not more. And that's a respect he gets based on his actions and how he delivers. And I think, Kev, ever since he came to the club, he had an impact.
Yes.
But ever since he put on the captain band, I think it became more of a complete leader that this club needed and has been missing for a very, very long time. And he's clearly the reason why Vancouver Whitecaps have been performing the way they have been.
Kevin points out Veselinovic, but can we just go ahead and say, if not for Ryan Gauld, Brian White doesn't have the career year that he's had. Now, they've become a pair, but what is it about, Jules, what Gauld has done that allows White to go ahead and have the career year in goals that he's had?
Oh, you know what? It's incredible to see White, how he's improved since he came, and he also had a positive impact, but since Ryan Gauld had that leadership role, Brian White now has become this threat and one of the most dangerous strikers, probably the most dangerous American striker in the league, thanks to Ryan Gauld. And there's a chemistry between the two of them that make them the most dangerous, dynamic duo in the league. And Brian White, Ryan Gauld, yes, that team has just been all about those two. But again, Ryan Gauld, how he performs off the ball. I think that's the one piece for me that sticks out the most as a number 10, Kev. We've played with many number 10s in our careers, and we've seen them, walk on us.
Lazy? Did you say lazy?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, lazy, but they're not the ones to track back or set the press, but it's very rare you find a number 10 defend the way Ryan Gauld does, and that's why he sticks out more than Acosta and
the one thing off the back of that as well, Lord Julian, I would say is that so many captains scream, shout, and they feel as though that they have to do that. It's all for show.
Yep.
Ryan Gauld is not all for show. He puts that work rate in because he gets the best out of himself, yes, but going back to your point there, Julian, he leads by example. You can lead in many different ways, and Ryan Gauld is how I'm going to work. I'm going to give it my very best in every game I play, and even if his own standard is probably his worst performance since he's come to Vancouver. It's been a 7 out of 10. Mm-hmm. That's his worst performance, which is incredible in itself. And that is maybe in terms of maybe his delivery and goals. He might not necessarily do that every game, but he continues to work for the side. Even when things aren't going well for the team, he will continuously work hard.
Is there a moment, and every MVP season has a moment, has there been a moment this year on this run to the playoffs where it's been like, Julian, this is the guy, and if not for him, they're not here?
Yeah, I would say there was a time I remember Vanni Sartini mentioned there was a slump in terms of the team. The team wasn't really performing, and there was kind of a drop in their performance, and it had a lot to do with Ryan Gauld. you know, Sartini said we need more from him. We need more from him. And Kev, to your point, he was probably giving a 7 out of 10, which is probably still the best out of the team.
Yeah.
But they still wanted more from him. And for him to still push himself and get the 8s and 9s out of 10, sometimes 10s out of 10s, and knowing what his body's been going through, knowing the amount of games they've been playing, knowing the amount of travel they've done, and he's still able to keep the performance at this level. This is where I've said, you know what, after that Leagues Cup tournament and for him to come into MLS season again and perform the way that he's been performing, that's where I said, wow, this is for me top level in my eyes. And that's why I keep preaching and hoping that this guy gets a Canadian passport.
I'm trying to think of some moments, but some of the goals, I remember one of the right foot goals that he scored this season where he's kind of hit across it. It's gone in the top corner. You're trying to think of so many games that he's played in, but there's
so many. It's like that workman-like mentality.
Honestly, I don't even think it's his goals, because a lot of the goals that he's scored have been real crucial goals. Yes, he scored some big penalties as well this season as well, but it has been more that key pass that he's made.
Yep.
And it's not even necessarily a primary assist. He opens up a game with one pass because of how he's finding himself in positions. We spoke about Brian White. His relationship behind him with Andres Kubas has been outstanding to watch as well. I know you've been a big admirer of him, but it's these relationships that he's built with these guys, and it's telling that he's right there, right in the mix. And honestly, and I'm not just saying it because I think that he is going to get overlooked as a Canadian player, as a Vancouver player. In my opinion, watching the whole league this season, he's been the best player.
We always strive for objectivity here, and I have to tell you that the opinions of this panel do not reflect Bell Media, but we have made our say here. In our minds, absolutely. Ryan Gauld is the MLS MVP.